There was this mom that turned in his son after she was he had, I guess, a plan for another massacre, like what we saw at the movie theater. It happened in Missouri last year. She called police and said, hey, look, I think my son's a copycat. He saw the Aurora, Colorado shooting. I think he's going to do it again. She turned him in. Should you always, in a situation like that, turn your kid in?
Oh, absolutely. Like that? Absolutely. To me, it gets trickier when it's a less serious offense where no one is hurt, the child's not hurt, and no one's in danger. But if you know your child is doing something dangerous and has either hurt someone or is going to hurt someone, you absolutely need to turn it in.
You don't always know if they will hurt somebody. Yeah. I think this is when, and we talk about it all the time with missing kids, you got to go with your gut instinct. Yeah. You got to dig deep in there and go, all right.
So you're saying you don't always turn them in?
No, I think you turn them in, but I do think, I agree with you that you turn them in, but it's hard. I think it's harder to turn them in when they have not hurt anybody yet, and you suspect that they might. Right.
But you don't know for sure.
I don't think you do it always. You got to look at thought, plan, and intent. And we talked about this a little bit last week. Just having the thoughts doesn't mean that you're going to do something. If they have a plan, if he says, you know what, I'm going to do this massacre shooting, there are no guns available. He has no access to it. He doesn't have the intent to do it. I'm just having these thoughts.
But you don't know.
If he says that. But if he says, if his words are
would always be get them some psychiatric help, because he could be having suicidal or homicidal ideations, but that stuff can be controlled by medication. He hasn't done anything yet, so why would I turn him over to the police?
Why not give him a psychiatric? You might not get the help. You might not get the proper help if you're just thrown into.
Well, it's not a crime yet. I mean, it's one thing to say, well,
if it's not a crime.
But if he has made threats and you as a parent think that they might be credible threats, if he hasn't done anything, there's no harm in letting the police know that there's a possibility that something dangerous could happen.
All right, two other scenarios. The DeMarquise Elkins, we covered this in Brunswick, Georgia, right? Shot the baby in the face. He's getting life in prison without parole. His mom was convicted of evidence tampering. She hid the gun. Remember that? So covering up for your kid.
You're basically co-signing at that point. You're saying that what you did is okay, and I'm gonna stand by it. Now, look, I think it's okay to stand by your kid and back them up if they're right. But when they're in the wrong, you're just basically saying, "Yep, I'm right there with you," and that cannot happen. You're not setting a proper example for your kid when you do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I don't know how you live with that either. I mean, I don't know how she would have lived with knowing that her son killed a baby, an 18-month-old.
For me, it feels more like a pattern of behavior. Like, what's going on in that house?
Dr. Tiff is thinking mom's just as bad as son. It's not like she was thinking clearly about protect. All right, how about you guys weigh in out there and be the judge? At what point would you turn your kid into police? Kid committed a crime. At what point would you turn him in? Well, the viewer verdict is in, and I love it. 100% of all of you fabulous parents said you turn that kid in.
You have great parents watching this show. That cannot
in all
be
seriousness, we were talking about, right? If you pay serious consequences, more than likely you will not do it again.
Right. It's part of parenting. I mean, that is part of, you have to teach your child consequence.
And some kids don't learn by you just telling them. Sometimes they got to be hit in the head with a frying pan, not literally, but sometimes you have to. Sometimes you gotta let them go suffer the natural consequences in order to learn the lesson.
My mom told me she used to pray that if I ever did anything wrong, I'd get caught, and I was like, oh, why would you say that? And now I know why.
And that's why you're such an angel. All right, let's talk about another kid. Yep, this one.